About 5 miles away from me, there is a church where they used to torture animals and sacrifice children. Quite funny, the story for this. I found out about this back when I was in high school, although the events took place 10 years prior to that. I was walking with some friends during our town's strawberry festival. Just a festival during the spring where we all just celebrate our town's local cash crop. All sorts of rides and funnel cake vendors show up. That sort of thing. Anyway, my friend and I are walking around at about 10 p.m. on the first day of the festival. We are just shooting the shit, and we talk about the new Walmart that opened up. We were talking about the economics and logistics of their low prices, and I wanted to freak out this religious girl in the group. And so I said that Walmart sacrificed people to Satan to keep their prices low. I was just joking, of course, and to be clear, at that point, I did not know about the church. Anyway, we thought it was funny, and thought nothing of it. Now, I'm the kind of guy that likes digging deeper into the things that I talk about, even offhandedly or as a jest. So I googled Walmart human sacrifices, and it came up with dead peasants insurance, which is a real thing that is completely fucked and you should totally look up. Anyway, I bring up DPI with my friends at school, and they think it's terrible too. But get this, I was talking about it at school, and that afternoon, I was pulled out of class on the intercom to go to the office. I think it's for some forms or whatever, but I was wrong. They want me to meet with this man and woman in a suit. I have never seen either of them at the school, and this is my senior year, so at that point, I've been there for 4 fucking years. Anyway, they asked me why I was talking about Walmart. I just told them I came up with a cool theory about it that I shared with some friends. They asked me who those friends were. I made up some names, by the way, I am not a snitch, and then flat out told me to stop talking about Walmart. Ain't that some shit? 2 fucking suits pull you out of class and tell you to stop talking about something. Anyway, I ride the bus home after school, and my mom tells me she got a call from the school that they recommended me be scheduled for a psychiatric appointment as soon as she could. Now listen, I am a little weird. I like Tabasco sauce in my noodles, and I like eggs on my burgers, but I'm not crazy. I browse X for those cool iceberg threads. I am not some schizo. I'm typically a Paul guy, but whatever. That is irrelevant to the story. Facts are, I am not some lunatic. We go to this appointment, and we sit down and talk, and nothing really happens. She lets me go, and thinks the school is overreacting. On the ride home, my mom asked me why all this was happening anyway, and I gave her the quick rundown. She looked at me for a second, and then told me about the church. The church is only 1 mile away from Walmart. Fucking poetry, right? Anyway, I stopped talking about it because I didn't want to get vanned by some fucking Walmart corporate weirdos. I forget about it until the summer of 2017, when my dog Sadie, R.I.P., gets real sick, and I have to bring her to the nearest vet. The nearest vet is directly across from Walmart. I want to get my dog's body so I can bury her, and they tell me no. They say they already handled her. I say that's bullshit, and if I want to bury my dog, I'm going to bury my fucking dog. They said that they had already put her in the cremator, and there is nothing I can do except get the ashes. I am fucking pissed, but it is whatever. I'm not gonna fight some vet over my dead dog. I promise, there is a point to this vet side story. Just keep reading. There is a room on the side of the vet building facing Walmart that has been under construction since Walmart has been built. It is still under construction to this very day. And get this, there is a tunnel-like structure that goes from the Walmart to the vet building. Fucking weird, huh? Now, it ain't exactly common knowledge outside of the town, but members of the congregation that did that weird shit are still in the town to this very day. Now that we got the animal torture out of the way, I will provide the rather anecdotal evidence on the human sacrifices. Since the Walmart was built, there has been a noticeable decrease in the number of homeless people in our town. Sure, we still have your average crackhead walking about, but as for poor people that are down on their luck who need a job, not many. Many of those aforementioned poor people have died after acquiring a job at the Walmart under odd circumstances. The obituary usually says they die from drowning in our tri-monthly floods. We live in rural Louisiana, so this isn't unheard of, but think about it this way. They were surviving just fine, being homeless through floods and inclement weather before they were unemployed, but they get a job at Walmart and forget how or when to get to shelter during these storms. I don't fucking buy it. They killed them. April 2018. I'm 26, looking for a new job. I had worked at a pharmaceutical plant as a maintenance guy, but the plant shut down. I decided to move back to Illinois, where my parents live, in a small town called Carme. My only experience is in maintenance. So after settling in and using my last savings to move and rent a house, I apply at a local utilities branch. Days pass, a week, 2 weeks, and then I get a phone call. It's a guy named Paul, the director of maintenance in the city. He says they need a guy to maintain the city's youth center. Oh, okay. I don't have a whole lot of experience in that sort of environment, but fuck it. It's a job. Paul gives me directions to the youth center. Asks me to report in tomorrow at 11. Okay. That day, I head to the youth center. I meet up with Paul, who is an older guy. Bald, mustache. Looks like your typical custodian/maintenance guy. He tells me not very many people like working here, but I don't mind. He unlocks the door, hands me the key. Then, he walks me in. My jaw drops. Inside the youth center are several tables, set up in long rows, and on each table is about a dozen 30-year-old Dell Optiplex computers. I'm so shocked because these computers are basically ancient. If I were a kid, I wouldn't want to go here and use these things. It's also a very dusty, unclean environment. Just seems really weird. I ask Paul what exactly people do here. He tells me that he doesn't know. The director is a guy named Chuck, who used to work at a neighboring school district. Okay. So, he kind of tells me what to do, how to clean the computers, where to wipe, etc. It's all really basic. I ask Paul what happened to the last guy who did this job. He quit. Why? Paul does not remember. Welp. So I go on my merry way, walking through the YC with Paul and going over the basics of janitorial service. That's day 1. The next day, I go in to clean the center at about 11 p.m. I'm supposed to clean from 11 to 4 a.m., 5 hours, and I get paid pretty decently. It's super easy, and I spend a lot of my time reading or listening to audiobooks or music. I still have not met Chuck, nor do I ever see kids in here after school. Weird, but I do not ask questions, I just fucking clean. We get to day 15. 2 weeks on the job, and it is midnight. There is never any evidence that anyone comes in here except for me. There is a bar down the road, and oftentimes I'm tempted to go and get shit-faced on the clock, but it's a decent job for very little work, so I never risk it. I'm in a chair by a computer, reading some book. I think it was Jurassic Park, when suddenly, the computer turns on. I freak out, afraid I hit something. I don't think I did. And then, a prompt shows up on the screen. I see one word. Hello. I have no idea what to do at this point. I've never seen one of these machines turned on. There is nothing inside this building, except the tables, chairs, and computers. The only thing indicating the building's name is Youth Center, painted on the glass windows in front in green and pink paint. I just sit here, staring at this prompt. Hello. Nothing else. Just hello. I decide to reach underneath and pull the plug. Maybe something is wrong with the shit. But then I see another line appear on the screen. Are you there? What? Oh yeah. This is too freaky for me, so I unplug the computer and leave early for the night. The next morning, I decide I want to meet Chuck, who runs the damn place. I call Paul, get his number. I call it, straight to voicemail. Voicemail box has not been set up. Awesome. So I call Paul again and get his address. He tells me he's not supposed to give it to me, but he does anyway. I hop in my car, put it in my GPS, and drive out of the city and onto some back road. After about 20 minutes, I get to a giant-ass gate. At the top of the gate it says, Heavenly Grace Temple and Sanctuary. I'll just call it HGTS, because it's a bitch to type. So clearly, I've put in the wrong address. Or have I? I decide to drive past the gate, which is open, and see what lies beyond. It's a long fucking driveway / path down a very steep hill. Eventually it gets so steep and curvy, I feel weird driving on it. I get out and walk the rest of the way until I get to a large church. It's maybe the size of a large restaurant or something. I see a lot of trailers beyond the church in a field. Trailers, a filling station. It's like they're set up in their own little town around the church. Weird. I feel uncomfortable now, but fuck it. I approach the church, and surprisingly, I hear organ music. They are having a service. Oh shit. I approach the church and peek in the window. It's weird as shit. It looks normal, with pews and shit, and an altar, but all the men are in the back, and are wearing these dark green suits. The women are in front, and they are wearing these weird veils. Suddenly I hear a voice behind me. Can I help you? It's some woman, wearing a creepy veil. I don't know what to say, so I run the fuck out of there. I'm like a fucking cheetah, running so fast. I get in my car, turn around so fast I hit a tree, doing cosmetic damage to my car, and I ride out of there. I get home and call into work, but Paul's phone is dead or something, so I can't. Just to be safe, I decide to go in. I go to work, but I don't do too much cleaning. I start to get paranoid because this black SUV keeps passing the center every half hour or so. I decide to call Chuck's number again because I want to see what's going on. It rings, and rings, and rings, and then he picks up. He sounds kind of drunk, honestly. I don't really know what to say, so I just tell him who I am and ask him to come down. I want to talk to him. He slurs his way into some excuse about how it is too late. It is late, but I am freaking out. I get angry and hang up on Chuck. I decide that when I get off work, I'll do some research myself. So that next day, I go to the local library and search the records. There is nothing, I mean nothing, in regards to the youth center. It might as well not exist, even though it's right here in town. So I decide to Google HGTS, and then things get interesting. There are several newspaper articles from neighboring counties. All of them call HGTS a cult. Apparently, about 4 years prior, a young woman went missing and joined up with them. Some other weird shit. But how is this place linked up with a youth center? Only one way to find out. I go back to HGTS the next day. I park on the side of the road and make the trek down the driveway. This time, there is no service going on at the church, so I just walk in. I call out, asking for Chuck by name. Kind of weird. He's the only guy I know involved in this thing. The church is obviously empty, so I go back out and head back up to my car. Then, I hear someone calling my name. I turn around, and it's this red-headed dude with a black beard. He introduced himself. It is Chuck. He asks if I need anything urgent, as the service is about to begin. I tell him there is nothing urgent, but I'd like to meet up with him at the YC that night to go over some stuff. He acts like this is the most normal thing to request in the world, and says he will be there. I go to work that night. He is not there. I wait several hours. He is still not there. Then, a computer turns on. Well, shit. Same prompt-looking screen. This time, there is a full sentence. I've been reading Romans. The fuck? I know I could get in trouble, but fuck it. I respond, what? No response. Then another sentence appears. Brother asked me to read Romans. My response, who is brother? And then, radio silence. So work continues for 2 to 3 weeks, and then one night, I get there, and the door's unlocked. I'm about to nope the fuck out of there, but curiosity gets the best of me. It's Chuck. He's drinking a Red Bull, sitting, seemingly waiting for me. Oh, hi. Chuck is seemingly very sober, unlike the last 2 times I spoke to him. He tells me he thinks I have some questions, and I do, so I ask, what is this place? He tells me that about 20 years ago, the library got rid of its computer lab to upgrade the technology. The city decided to make a youth center for kids without computers to come play games and learn technology skills. This seems sort of far-fetched and weird, and I tell him I've never actually seen anyone here. Oh, he says, trust me, they are here when they need to be. That sounds very ominous. Chuck stands up and grabs me on the shoulder. I don't like being touched, and my instinct is to pull away. Listen to me, Hanan. Coming to my place of worship is very unprofessional. Don't do that again. And then he leaves, and I stand there, and I wonder if I should even bother cleaning. I got the broom out of the closet, and I am kind of freaking out. But then, I notice something. Under the chair Chuck was sitting in. It's a wallet. Specifically, it is Chuck's wallet. Oh shit. I hold on to it, even though I know I should not. The first thing I look at is Chuck's ID. Turns out, Chuck's real name is Simon. I won't do last names. You can Google after the fact. I drive to the library the next day, and again, search the records. Nothing. So, I use a computer, a modern one, by the way, and do a search for his name. And holy shit, Paul was right about one thing. He did work for a school system, and he was dismissed for reasons I won't get into. They are less than noble, however. No guy who gets fired from a job like he had would ever get hired to run a youth center. The mayor has to present all town hires to the board. If I were the mayor, well shit. Carmi is a small town, and the mayor is basically just some guy. He is an elected official though, and he does have hiring power for town employees, along with the town board. So later that day, I go to the bar across from the YC, and I ask around about Chuck, and Paul, and the mayor. Turns out, no one knows much about Chuck. Everyone knows about Paul, and the mayor is somewhat of an enigma. One guy calls him a weirdo. I ask him, what do you mean? He goes to that funny-looking church over yonder. So now I know how a guy like Chuck/Simon managed to get hired to run a YC that basically does nothing, but I feel like I have a mystery to solve, so that's what I do. I go to work like normal, and I turn on the computer for the first time. It's a prompt. Who is this? I type Chuck, but then I delete it and type Simon. There is a long pause. It's the wrong time, but I read the scripture. It was good. I really don't know what to type, and I'm a bit befuddled as to what exactly I should say. So I just type okay. Then the response. I want to go and be with the family. Another one. I want to help any way I can. I want to know who I'm talking to and what the hell is going on. But I get spooked, and I pull the plug on the computer. I get my phone out, call Paul, leave him a voicemail. The next night, I go to work like normal, and I work my shift like normal. This goes on for maybe a month. No computer shit, no Chuck, Simon, whatever. But then I get a phone call from Chuck. He tells me not to worry about my shift the next night. He tells me some people are staying late. Oh, okay. So obviously, I have to be there to see what the hell is going on. I never ever see other people in that building, and I have to know. So I come up with a plan. I go to the grocery store and load up on water and snacks. Here is my plan. To hide in the closet the entire day until shit starts happening. I take my power drill over to the YC and drill a small hole, just big enough to look out of. I throw the drill in with the other tools, grab my snacks/water, and shut the door, making sure to lock it before I enter. I guess I'll just have to kick it down or some shit when everyone leaves, but I can't have someone opening the damn door while I am in there. So, I sit and wait, and wait, and wait, until finally, I hear a rustling at the door. Oh shit. So I look into my little hole, and sure enough, there is Chuck in one of the weird green suits, and two women, wearing the creepy-ass veils. And then, more come. Men in green suits, women with veils. By the time it's all over, there is like 30 people in the building. None of them are youth by any means. I keep watching. I wonder if one of these guys could be the mayor. Jesus. Anyways, each person sits at a computer and logs on. The prompt appears, and then, just like robots, each one starts typing away. And away. They just keep going. They type, wait for a response, and then repeat. I just stand there watching. I have to piss and shit, because I've been here all damn night. But they just don't stop. There is a guy typing away very close to me, but I can't see his screen through this little hole, so I decide to wait it out. Wait for them to leave. Finally, they do. No one turns their computer off. No one says anything. They just stand up in unison and file out of the door. I wait for about 10 minutes and then try to kick the door down. It was a lot harder than I imagined, but I finally managed. I run up to the monitors to see what all has been typed out. I won't quote what everyone said, but they clearly had a script memorized. To my best understanding, the idea here is that these guys were trying to recruit people into their church. But why the old computers? Why not do this from the church grounds? I take out my phone and take screenshots. I am really nervous. What exactly turns these computers off? Do they just turn themselves off? How are they talking to whoever? I put my phone up when I hear another rattling at the door. I run in the closet, but then I realize the door is fucked up, so I just cover the closet with the broken door and hope that no one notices. I sit quietly. I don't even bother with the hole that I drilled. It is dead silent for maybe 10 minutes. And then, off comes the door. I am prepared to rock Simon shit should he be there, but he's not. And then, I hear his voice. Come out, Anon, I have a gun. Oh shit. I go out, totally exasperated and expecting to die. It is Chuck, and he's no longer in his green suit. He's wearing like a wife beater, and he's holding a gun in his hand. He goes on this rant about how I am being unprofessional and not doing my job properly, that he has to clean up the mess that I don't clean, that I am lazy. Not once does he mention his nutty little cult. I'm pretty sweaty at this point, and on the verge of tears. In the middle of his rant, I stop Simon/Chuck and ask him what the fuck everyone was doing just a little bit ago. Simon keeps talking, ignoring my question. Then, he tells me that he's tired of people ignoring his religious beliefs, that time and time again, people have cast him out. Clearly he is fucking bonkers. I keep talking over him, yelling, asking how the hell they communicate with the old computers. He ignores me. Then, in another delayed response, he says, well, why the fuck do you think Amish folk still ride horses and buggies? Welp, I'm pretty sure at this point I'm going to die at the hands of this madman. I think back to all those times I thought about just getting a drink at work, never showing up again, just collecting my check. But nope. There is a computer right behind me. I think that maybe, just maybe, if I keep this nut talking, I can type help if I reach behind me, just very slowly. Simon at this point is at the point where he is quoting Bible verses and saying he knows the technocrats. Technocrats? What the fuck? I used to be pretty good in typing class, so I'm hoping I'm hitting the right keys. H-E-K, no backspace. And then, I see those crazed eyes glance down at my hands. He pulls the gun out and points it at my head. More Bible verses. He is spitting on my face. At this point, I have accepted that I am most likely going to die. I'm not on this earth long enough to play games with you, he says. Yeah, okay. He grabs my hand, squeezes tight. He's actually rather strong, and I'm afraid he'll break my hand. Oh shit. I look behind me and notice some of the computers have been turned off. I guess that's why Simon came back, to turn them off. I wonder if Paul ever got my voicemail. I wonder if I would have ever been anything other than a decently paid janitor. Probably not, but it is fun to pretend. Simon/Chuck has gotten to the point where he is rambling in gibberish. I'm about to make a run for the door. If you're gonna shoot, shoot, don't talk. But then I see the flash, red and blue, police lights. After I talked with whomever on the computer, I sent Paul a voicemail. Basically, I said that if you don't hear from me after every shift, something weird is happening and he should check it out. So after every shift, I texted him, and he never responded. But, lo and behold, he did check his voicemail and texts when it really counted. 2 cops enter the building, screaming at Simon/Chuck to drop his gun and put his hands up. He doesn't. They continue to shout. Simon isn't talking anymore. He is just shaking and looks like he's about to explode. I see Paul outside, by the window, looking in between the 2 stems of the Y in Youth Center, painted on the window. As I'm looking, I hear a bang, and on the floor is Simon. Holy fucking shit. I overhear one of the cops saying he had begun raising his weapon, so I guess he basically took his own life by cop. I have read shit about wacko Jim Jones, but nothing like this. The cops rush over to me, ask if I'm alright. Yeah. Do I need anything? No, I'm good. After an experience like that, I obviously did not feel like working for the town of Carmi again. I eventually found another job. Factory work up north, near Chicago. Last time I was in Carmi was a few months ago, for my dad's birthday. The youth center is a pizza place now. Just for shits and giggles, I decided to try it. I went in, ordered carryout, and as this lady put in my order, I noticed something. She was doing it on an old Dell Optiplex. And that's my story. That's everything that happened. I never went back after that. Here is one that was sent to me by an individual who wishes to remain anonymous. I've converted most of it to Greentext for the sake of the thread. Keep in mind, this happened during the Cold War when tensions and paranoia ran high. My dad was a part of an Australian Navy, and he and a bunch of others was sent to America as part of some Navy initiative. He did engineering work, which, he said, he couldn't tell me about for legal reasons. During this initiative, he is working frequently with the Coast Guard. One day they call him up. Apparently there's an icebreaker that they had not heard from in quite a while. It was still broadcasting its location, and it hadn't moved in a long time. You want to come and check it out with us? Dad says sure and tags along. 2 hours later, they reach the icebreaker's location. It was a smaller vessel, not like the heavier ones that were required for things like the McMurdo station, but still large enough to break through the ice and to hold a sizable crew. But most of the crew were missing. Dad is left on board. Goes down to the engine room. He sorts some shit out. I don't know what he did. I am no engineer. The engines are back up and running, and Dad goes back up top. He asks around, curious to know what happened, but the crew is giving conflicting reports. Some say it was bears, and others say wolves, but while they don't agree on the specifics, they do agree that most of the crew was taken. He said, and I quote, "Most of these fellas were scared out of their fucking mind, and they had every right to be. They had mates taken by something that was on the ice, but they seemed to have no real clue what it was." Dad is eventually told to get back onto the Coast Guard vessel, and they shove off. Back at base, Dad is approached by his commanding officer and basically told to keep his mouth shut. He still has no idea what happened out there. He's got Defense Force ties, but the event is still a mystery to him. Old Dutch family story literally goes back to the middle of the 19th century. My ancestors came from a small village. One of the farmers had this weird boy. The boy would walk weirdly, flap his hands, kill small animals, yell loudly, sometimes touch girls' breasts. After getting a few beatings and warnings, the boy was kept on his father's farm, not even being allowed to enter the church. One day, the boy enters the church, sobbing and confused, asking to talk to the priest. The priest and several of the local men approach the boy because he is not welcome in the church. He begs the priest to allow him to stay in the church. The priest asks him why. The boy, crying and being hysterical, says he accidentally summoned a devil and that the devil will drown him. The men of the village are hesitant and want to put the boy in a mental asylum outside of the city. The boy agrees, but begs them to allow him to sleep in the church this night because the devil will try and drown him. The priest agrees, and a carpenter goes to the city to get someone from the asylum. The boy calms down, gets a small bed, and the priest promises he will be sleeping nearby and that he can call him anytime he wants to. 3 times the boy wakes up the priest because he sees the devil waiting outside the church. 3 times the priest and the boy pray together and read from the Bible. At the end of the evening, it starts to rain and small puddles form. It is almost daybreak. The priest is up already to check on the boy. The boy looks outside and says, "I did it. I won from the devil." Happy and confident, the boy says he is going to look as the sun rises. The priests go inside to get something to eat for himself and the boy. When he walks outside to give the boy some bread and cheese, he finds his dead body, drowned in one of the puddles that formed last night.